Welcome to Season 5, Episode 11, also known as Episode 147 of the Retro Game Club podcast. My name is Hugh, and joining me is someone who leaked early, Rob.
Yep, everyone knows how I end now. Everyone knows my whole plot. Hey, are you spoiler free still?
I am, yeah. I've actually muted most of my video game RSS feeds.
Nice. It's not a bad idea. We haven't talked in a while. What have you been up to?
Oh, did I put anything in the notes? No, I haven't. Oh, yeah. So, I guess it's the beginning of garage or estate sale season here. I guess estate sales go on forever, but they tend to pick up more in winter. I guess people don't want to hold them when it's freezing out still. But I saw one in my area, and there was a bunch of just old computer junk. So I said, well, I'm going to go check that out.
Mm-hmm.
And the software wasn't any good. It was like boxes and boxes of 3.5-inch discs that I think all contain personal files.
Okay.
So, like in your estate plan, you should probably make sure that stuff gets destroyed. You know,
Yeah.
Who knows what's actually... I didn't buy the discs. I don't really care. But they did have a bunch of assembly programming books that were all brand new. So apparently this person thought they were going to do assembly at some point and then did not. This is like stuff with like Peter Norton on the cover.
Yeah.
You know, this is some really old stuff. So I bought all those. That was my purchase. Buying a stack of assembly books for $1 a piece.
Was assembly lines in there?
No.
No, not that one. That's the only one I know, so I had to bring it up.
No. It was just I have to look at the picture I posted to even remember what I bought at this point. It was Peter Norton's assembly language for IBM PC, advanced assembly language, and assembly language for the PC 3rd edition.
What does that mean? Does it just mean x86 assembly?
Is this all? Yeah, this is all x86 assembly.
Because like the IBM PC didn't have any special chips it referenced or anything, did it? No, A6
No,
or
this
anything?
is just... Nope, it's just straight x86 assembly. Although this one, assembly language for PC 3rd edition, also includes like C++. So it's about... Like when Doom was first written, it has some inline assembly. You know, like certain math routines were written in assembly for performance reasons. So it talks a little bit about how to do coding like that, swapping between C and assembly.
Cool. That is cool. Did the people even know what these books were?
No, not really. And again, the rest of the software, they were like some old card games. There was some 5.25-inch software, but it was like poker, that kind of stuff, you know. Nothing worth getting and trying to collect.
Not the strip poker game?
No, just regular poker.
Where you get her down to her 80s lingerie.
Yeah.
Somehow it's less hot than it was before.
You know a lot about this. I've never played this game.
Oh, I think I had a friend that had, like, his dad had it or something, and we got on the computer late at night or something. And, you know, you don't know how to play cards, but you just kind of guess and eventually start winning, which is pretty much how to play cards.
That's how to play cards, yeah. Yeah, I remember there was a craze for a while there where poker was on television all the time. Do you remember that?
Yeah, like the early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah. And I always thought, like, it's just luck. I mean, I realize there's a little bit of strategy, but it's like 99% luck.
Yeah, it's the guy with the coolest sunglasses usually wins.
He wins, yeah. All right. So what have you been up to?
A lot of video gaming. Lots and lots of video gaming, which is great. It's been a while since I've had a few weeks like this. And let's see, Hi-Fi Rush. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it on the show before, but I love it. It's my game of the year so far. I beat it. It's only on Steam and Xbox. I, of course, played it on Steam. And man, this game really affected me. The way they did the sound. It was just... The game was close to flawless for me. Definitely needs a sequel. It needs like a Netflix show.
Mm-hmm. That's not going to happen for a while. You know, there's like a strike or something.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been a great intro. That the show is recorded by AI or something, written by AI. Yeah. But it's not like we write this show.
No, clearly we do not.
And yeah, I might even sometime go back and do some post-game stuff, which, with the exception of like Breath of the Wild and Horizon Zero Dawn, I never do post-game stuff. What else? I played Strayed Light. Have you heard of that one?
Nope.
It's kind of a sleeper hit. It just came out a few weeks ago. It only took me like 3 hours to play. This is on Steam also. You just like start out as this little baby of light that instantly gets attacked by some shadow beast. So you're like half shadow, half light at that point. And you hurt enemies by parrying them right on time. So your parries hurt them more than actual blocks. And then in the end, when their power is totally gone, you just like annihilate them.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of
the like Metroid on 3DS.
If you only could parry.
Okay.
But it's a 3D game, third person. It's only like a 9-person team that built this. I don't know. If it was like a $9 game, I think I spent like $20 on it. If it was like half the price, I'd give it a glowing review, but I'm gonna spoil it. There was like no ending.
Okay.
You just kind of beat it and credits roll, and it's not like a you didn't do enough stuff type thing. I don't think. Someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but so I don't know. It was okay, but I kind of wish I had that time back. And then right now I'm playing Cult of the Lamb. Have you ever heard of Cult of the Lamb?
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
It's pretty good. It's pretty cheap now. You are a lamb that gets straight up murdered in the very first scene. It's very cartoony. And Satan says like, "Hey, dude, I need you. I believe in you. Start a cult for me." And so you start Cult of the Lamb, and you gain followers, and you could do stuff like when they die, you can like secretly like feed them as dinner. Like one of my followers had like, and remember, this is like the most cartoonish game possible, like cutesy. One of them has like a poop fetish and is like, can you make it so I eat poop and not know it? That kind of thing. And
you're not selling me on this game at all.
there's not much stuff like that. There's a lot of like little kind of combat-y stuff, but you also like city build your cult. And so the better you city build your cult, the better you are at fighting, and then vice versa. The more you fight, the more like rewards you get, because like I think you're like killing other cults. I don't really know that part, but it's fun. I don't know. I probably won't beat it. It's one of those games I kind of got sucked into, and we'll probably forget about when Zelda comes out in a week. But yeah, so that was a lot of gaming I did, and we are going to have a topic soon about watching the Doom movie, and I have watched it.
Yes, I still have to watch. I mean, I did watch it like years ago, but then I made the mistake of not watching it again before times get busy for me, I guess. I have to figure out some time when I'm going to watch it.
It is free. Again. This is for you and the listeners. It's free on Paramount right now.
Okay, I don't have that.
I'd be shocked if it wasn't on Pluto or Tubi or something.
It's one of those. Yeah, Tubi has everything. That is such a bizarre station.
Yeah, it really is better than it should be, isn't it? I've watched a lot of Mystery Science Theater on that lately.
I was watching Acapulco Heat on it recently.
What is that? That sounds so familiar.
It is a show. It actually debuted the same year as X-Files, I believe.
Okay.
But you would not believe these came from the same decade, because it is the most 80s looking show you have ever seen in your entire life. It's about like a group of undercover agents that disguise themselves as like a modeling company and solve crimes. It's absolutely horrible. Do not watch it. We put it on because I, on an unrelated podcast, heard about it was a show starring Fabio, and my wife was a romance writer, so any Fabio stories are always very big in her community.
That's hilarious.
But the thing is, he is like a Charlie from Charlie's Angels character. He only appears at the end of each episode, and it's always in the same location, like where they check back in with the boss at the end. You know what I mean? So I think what happened is they filmed all of his scenes in one day.
That tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like, here's everything that's going to include Fabio in it.
So when Fabio got hit by the goose or duck, whatever it was, while
It was
on a roller coaster, was that like the biggest thing that ever happened to that community? Was that like, we're all going out, we're all getting drunk, can you believe what happened?
Well, I mean, that was a long time ago, so I don't really know what the reaction was, because
it's not like an annually celebrated event.
No, it's just sort of it's a interesting footnote, because it's like a true stat that like books that he was on the cover of sold 30% higher than like if it was the same book with someone else on the cover.
Yeah.
In case you're wondering why he was used on covers so much, because it literally sold books.
I wonder if that translated to video games.
Is he on a video game?
Yeah.
Well, it did for John Madden, right?
He's on Wizards and Warriors, right?
Iron Sword. Yeah, that probably didn't work for Iron Sword 2. Or Iron Sword, Wizards and Warriors 2, right?
Yeah.
Probably not, but again, like people buy Madden, like why Madden football win the debate over Joe Montana? Because I guess people think John Madden. I don't know. The games didn't seem to be that much different. I mean, they were different style of games. I actually thought the Joe Montana games played better.
I thought they were written on the same engine. It was just licensed differently.
No, the very first Joe Montana game was done by the John Madden team, but the later games were not.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I remember that part in like the video game history book or whatever, but not all the specifics. But yeah, so that weird Cult of the Lamb game, that's what I'm playing. I got to say a bunch of things on this podcast that I never thought I would say.
Yes.
So you could go squeegee your ears out later. We don't have many news items, so I guess I could kind of plow through this.
Okay. So I just had to remove one because the site was down.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Just like what was it? Was it a Jaguar one? No, it was a PCFX ODE device that the creator put up an interest list. Well, he has another one now, a Philips CDI ODE called a Phøde EE, I think he's calling it for some reason. I guess it's Philips and ODE together.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so there's a link in the show notes if you are interested in having a CDI ODE. Now you have a CDI, so you can really upgrade yours.
Yeah, I have a CDI, but I don't really have a good controller for it.
See, I think this would give you a reason to get a good controller.
Maybe, I don't know. Seems I don't know. There's really not. I mean, the problem with the CDI is there's really nothing on it I want to play that isn't on a better CD console.
And I wonder, did the CDI do video disc or anything?
It did, yeah. Yeah, it did a lot of like educational, sort of border like edutainment reference sort of stuff. It has a good version of Defender of the Crown, like with a lot of like extra graphics and stuff. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to play like Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, that kind of stuff, you're better off playing it on like literally anything else.
Literally the Game Boy.
Oh yeah, the Game Boy Dragon's Lair is more fun for sure.
Oh, I believe it.
So it's just not and I know it's like there's the novelty of playing the Zelda games, I suppose, but there's just not really any reason to own one. If I didn't get it for $5, I wouldn't have it.
Yeah, one of my first jobs was using Authorware, which turned into Director for Macromedia.
Yeah.
And for the listeners that don't know what that is, it was kind of like pioneering drag and drop programming. It was really strange. It was kind of like a proto Flash. We were at first gearing towards CDI development and immediately got away from that. Like, let's just put this on a Pentium 90, put that inside of a kiosk machine. There you go. There's your corporate CDI machine.
So I just want to say, when I was looking at eBay auctions recently, one of my eBay searches is for GameCube kiosk discs, which occasionally turns up an actual GameCube kiosk. and someone was selling a McDonald's GameCube kiosk. I gotta see if I can find it here.
I've seen those. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
what you're
but
talking about.
but and I'm like, that's pretty interesting. Except he had modded the GameCube in it to be like to play different games or whatever, to load games like off a USB disc. So it wasn't like, I don't know. For me, it was destroying something. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted this. If I'm going to pay $3,600, that's what he's asking for here. For the GameCube kiosk, I want the original thing, maybe with new controllers.
Yeah. At least
Because those controllers have seen some bad things.
Yeah, at least they should be Lysoled or something.
Yeah.
Very heavily.
But yeah, it's $3,600. I don't know how. I assume you have to pick it. Yeah, free local pickup from Katy, Texas. I don't know. I know where Texas is, but I don't know where Katy, Texas is. And yeah, GameCube kiosk working condition, has Pico mod with many classic GameCube games installed. Can be played as 4-player on each side for Mario Kart and Smash Brothers.
So what would you do with this unmodded?
Well, I mean, you could just put games in it and play GameCube on your McDonald's kiosk.
Yeah, all standing up. Yeah.
All right. So Katy, Texas is. I'm opening up the Google Maps here because I'm curious. Ooh, with Texas, you have to zoom out a bit usually to find where it actually is. Oh, there you go. It's a suburb of Houston.
Okay.
It's just right outside Houston.
Man. What else do we have here? Oh, speaking of before GameCube, you like that segue there? The N64 PSU. I think I'm gonna buy one of these because it's cheap enough, or it kind of makes sense. This is a PSU, a modern PSU, replacement for Nintendo 64s. So those probably use bad caps and stuff like that, the originals. So this, you could have something that'll probably last for the rest of your life. It's $29. It's not too bad. Is this anything you would ever buy?
No. I mean, a neat idea, but I have multiple Nintendo 64s, so I don't need replacement parts for them, I don't think.
This one's right up my alley. It is the Redream power supply, which I have my Dreamcast too. I didn't realize it was the same guy. That's cool. That is really cool. And then Kirby's Dream Land 2 DX. Have you ever played Kirby's Dream Land 2?
Yes. Is that on the Game Boy collection right now?
I don't know. I haven't played the Game Boy collection, but
not Game Boy collection. The
on the online, the
Switch
online.
thing.
Yeah. Well, this has been ported to Game Boy Color with some upgrades. Now, this is on romhacking.net. I just thought a lot of our listeners would be interested in this one. And if you're, a big Kirby fan, it might be cool to like burn something like this to a cart and have a little collectible there. Oh man, more CDI news. Why did I put so much CDI?
Yeah, why did you put so much CDI news on?
This is a CDI podcast. I wonder if there is one of those.
Oh, there has to be. Yeah, I mean everything has a community, right?
I guess. So a forgotten Zelda adventure gets ported to the Game Boy. And so this is Zelda's Adventure from the CDI ported to the Game Boy using, what's that, like, modern Game Boy engine? What is that called? It's in here somewhere. Well, regardless. Oh, it's called GB Studio. That's right.
Yeah, GB Studio. Okay. I probably should have just guessed that. Yeah.
And it has Link Awakening type mechanics. So there you go. I don't know about this one.
Yeah, well, this is that sort of like takedown letter pending section that I wanted to get rid of. Like, this is still ultimately Nintendo IP that you're kind of messing around with, and Nintendo will eventually probably take that down.
If anything, just so people forget these games existed.
Yeah. Did you put the story about like the Atari Holdings Company buying a number of games from the Intellivision Holding Company?
No, I didn't hear about that. I know they bought games from other like Microprose and stuff like that.
Yeah. So this probably didn't make our. I just saw this like today. Well, I got to click
Breaking
news.
news.
I think it was like yesterday. It was something like they bought the rights to the M Network games from. They bought the rights to the M Network games from the company that owns the rights to the Intellivision stuff.
From Tommy?
I don't know. Yeah, I assume he's still technically the owner, right?
I don't know.
But depending, yeah, here's Atari. Again, this is the holdings company that calls themselves Atari. Atari announces acquisition of M Network, Atari 2600 titles, and related trademarks. So this is what's interesting. Announced the acquisition of more than a dozen games originally published on every collection includes Armor, Ambush, Astro Blast, Frogs and Flies, Space Attack, and Star Strike. Doesn't talk about everything on here now, but also acquired the corresponding rights to the M Network brand. So I don't know if that has any implication. I mean, the Amico's never going to come out, but
no.
Clearly this would not be something that they were going to include on that. So I hope, obviously they weren't now. But it does kind of, I don't know. It kind of goes to show that they're much more cash strapped than you probably think.
See, I don't get these kind of purchases, and here's why. Okay, here's an M Network game, Super Challenge Baseball. Now they own that IP. Couldn't they just make a game called like Pretty Cool Baseball? It sounds exactly the same to me. You don't need to buy an IP for that.
Yeah, you don't know how much they paid though. This may not have been a very big cost for them. I don't know. I just don't know, because these are privately held companies, so you don't know what they're spending, right?
Yeah. They could have been. It could have been like a joke purchase. Like, all right, I'll take it off you if you're really gonna sell it for that. Yeah,
it just means that when we get to like Atari 60 or something, it's gonna have the M Network games.
I feel like we should be able to buy Intellivision at this point. We have no Patreon.
Have too much debt,
we have nothing.
No, because you're gonna have to buy the debt.
Oh yeah.
They're gonna have to go Chapter 11 ultimately,
and then
or 7, and then 11 if no one buys them. Right? I mean, that's kind of the way it goes. Like, if I understand how going bankrupt works, and hopefully I never experience it in real life, you would first file Chapter 7, which is basically we're gonna totally liquidate unless someone buys us, and you restructure to try and take care of your debt, and then I think Chapter 11 is now we're just shutting everything down, and if this is what like Toys R Us eventually had to do, stuff like that. So, or Bed Bath & Beyond, right? Wasn't that the one that just did Chapter 11? Or did they do 7?
So Toys R Us, Bed Bath & Beyond, and Radio Shack all made the same mistake, which was buying back their shares and then having a huge load of debt that they just couldn't maintain. So companies should not do that anymore.
Well, except it made the people who own the company very rich while bankrupting the company, right?
I mean, yeah,
if your goal is to enrich yourself, then that's a very smart move. If your goal is to operate a retail establishment, it's a very bad move.
Yeah. What would you say the best game here is? I'm going to go say Frogs and Flies.
On M Network, Frogs and Flies is not bad, yeah. The port of Night Stalker, if that's included in here, that was an okay port. The Intellivision one's better, but it's a pretty good port.
Did we do... Astro Blast was a game club game, right?
At some point it was, yeah.
That's right, yeah. Wow, yeah, this is strange that Atari owns this.
I don't think... I understand why you say that, but I don't know.
I mean, it's not less strange than, when Sega games started coming on GameCube and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this kind of signals like, yeah, they are done. And Intellivision is done.
Yeah, when you're selling off scraps to keep yourself in business, right?
I mean, are they in business? Are they?
Well, they're from a legal standpoint, they're in business.
Yeah.
All right. Here's a programming article I wrote. If you're interested in learning the Rust programming language, which I'm sort of interested in, this is an article about creating a LibRetro front end in Rust because many people's first programming project is creating an emulator front end.
Wait, did you say you wrote this?
No, I didn't write this. I said I would like to learn this.
Oh, okay. I
This
was
is
like,
not
wow, this is
look like
very
something I
impressive.
would write. No, I did not write this. I said I would like to learn Rust.
Yeah.
And again, a very common first project for people is writing an emulator front end. I probably attempted to write one at 1.2 and said, maybe I shouldn't have tried this.
Yeah, this is very clean, well written. Does not seem like an AI wrote this, which is a good thing. And yeah, this seems like a great tutorial for a beginner. That's cool. Have you picked up Rust at all or plan to at all?
No, I would like to. It's on my sort of like it would be neat to learn because I know it's been kind of growing in popularity. I don't know how, like, if it's a language that's going to be around in 10 years or not. I'm kind of bad at predicting what languages are going to stick around.
I think it will be. I think it's going to actually be one of the top ones. Did you put this next article in here?
Nope, I think maybe Zach did.
Probably. Jurassic Park Retro Collection announced by Limited Run Games.
What's neat is, like, none of these games are the same game. Jurassic Park is like a great example of like same name, different game.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I don't see the Sega CD version in here though, and they have been publishing Sega CD games.
I will not buy this, but I will play all these games.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe sometime soon we'll have a Jurassic Park theme.
Yeah, I guess that probably turns 30 this year, or was it last year?
Your kids are too old to have gone to see Jurassic Park live, huh?
Yeah, I mean we did. Is there Jurassic Park stuff at Disney World at Animal Kingdom?
I haven't been there. I haven't been to Animal Kingdom.
Oh, I've been there like 4 times, and now I can't remember if there's Jurassic Park stuff there.
No clue. Yeah, but it was fun. I went to that, bring my kids to that twice. That was a good time. What? Oh man. We have one last article. Retro Atari game found after being lost for 40 years. And so this is Sonar. Hey, have you heard of this at all?
No. Nope.
It's described as a battleship toy-like game, but like a toyified battleship. And
Okay.
I don't know, where, you're a submarine and you're trying to find the other submarines.
Yeah.
It looks okay. I'm pretty sure it was the author that found it. And yeah, I don't know. Kind of cool if you're into this stuff. It's good. This is a reason not to throw away your floppies or sell them at a garage sale.
Yeah, this looks like it was actually a board they found. If you click through the article, there's a picture of an actual board.
Oh. Wow. They did say that after he passed, yeah, it wasn't the author because he passed away, and his daughter said that they threw away all his floppies. So they did not sell them. But yeah, I don't know. I might check this out just to see what it's like. I'm trying to see what else he wrote. Morse code tutor. That's a hard word to say. Morse code tutor.
Tutor. Yeah, that's a tough one.
But that sounds kind of like a hello world you'd write for Atari, just to make some bleeps and blops and some timing. That's funny. And that is our news. Kind of a CDI heavy day for us. That leads us into Game Club. Since we've been talking a lot about Atari and Intellivision and stuff, you want to do yours first?
Yeah, let's do that. I gotta open my notes here. What did I play? Hold on. Oh, Missile Command. Yes. So this was speaking of Atari 50 because we've been talking about it a lot. This was a game that I wanted to try because it was, I believe, the last licensed Atari Lynx game was the Missile Command Asteroids remake. So that's why I played it. Played the Lynx version. I think everyone knows the concept of missile command, right? You have some bases on the ground, and missiles are falling on them, and you move the controller around to launch, defensive missiles against the incoming nuclear missiles or whatever kind of bomb they are, and try and blow them up and protect your bases. And if all your bases get blown up, that's the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lynx version, I think sticks to the formula pretty well. It is a lot easier, I thought, than the Atari version. I was an Intellivision kid growing up, so I didn't really play the original game until the 1990s. And, Intellivision had a lot of clones of things that were on the Atari, but I don't recall a Missile Command clone on it. Would be kind of hard to play on that controller anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also the Arcade Paradise clone, right? There was one of those. There was wasn't there a Missile Command clone in there?
I have no idea. I haven't had that. I didn't have that one.
I think there was.
I think I've only owned one of
hallucinate
those
that.
ever.
Okay. But anyhow, it was, I found this version a lot easier, and it also has power-ups. As you clear stages, you earn money, which you can use to purchase upgrades, which makes the game a lot easier.
Like, do you remember any of the upgrades?
It's like bigger bombs, like your bigger explosion.
Yeah, bigger
so
radius.
That's the first one I bought. So that's about it. It was kind of a fun game.
Yeah, I played this game on the 2600. It was one I owned when I was a kid, and I think I played it about 10 billion times, probably. Yeah. And yeah, the 2600 one, man, that one just plays great. It's fun. It's a little bit limited compared to the Atari one. So for this time I played Lynx 2600, the Atari port, not the original, and the Game Boy port. Have you ever played that Game Boy one?
I've not. No, I didn't really even know about it.
It's not good at all.
Oh, that's too bad.
You start it out and it has campy music, and it's like you're almost expecting like a chibi Missile Command.
Okay.
And the explosion flickers just do not work on that screen. They're kind of headache inducing. It's really slow. Yeah, and then you go back and you play the original arcade version, and the arcade version's so fast and smooth, and I'm really, other than the 2600 port, I'm really bad at all of these.
Okay.
But watching someone play this game, I think, is boring, but actually playing it is really fun. And you know what? Now, even though you said this a few minutes ago, I'm remembering the Arcade Paradise clone you're talking about now. I got confused, and I was thinking I forgot about Arcade Paradise. I thought you were talking about Paradise Arcade, which is an arcade parts resale place.
Oh, okay.
And I thought you meant like an Atari plug-in clone thing.
No, I meant yeah, and I'm trying to find the game list here.
Yeah.
It was called this is how bad I do research. Not Line Terror. Not Racer, of course not Racer Chaser.
I love that
not
game.
UFO. UFO Assault was kind of a fun game though.
Yeah, that was fun.
That was fun. Not Meteor Man. Maybe there wasn't one. Are you? Oh, there is Communist from Mars.
That's right. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty good. I wonder if those like mini games came out, like were developed before Arcade Paradise. Like they're all just like the author teaching himself how to write games.
Could be, yeah.
You just put them all together. Well, yeah. Any final thoughts on all that?
No. Nope. It's just if you haven't bought Atari 50, I again would recommend it. I think it's a really good collection. For all the fun we have at the expense of the company that owns the rights to the Atari IP, this is a really good collection and it's definitely worth getting.
Digital Eclipse can do no wrong.
Yeah.
Well, I did Metroid Prime. I played it the Switch remake, which is kind of cheating. And so this came out in 2002, so it is retro. And so if you don't think this is retro, that means you are old. This is my first playthrough of it, although I have played it before, but a long time ago. I own the trilogy. And yeah, as you know, this is the first 3D Metroid game, first person shooter. Samus hears, a distress call on some planet and goes down and, gets all her powers taken away by, what is it, like the Queen Parasite or something like that. And then the story starts from there. You get all your powers back and you have to destroy the Metroid Prime. And everyone knows I don't really like first-person games, so I went into this reluctantly, and I liked it. I'm going to start out by saying I liked it. The graphics were great, the sound was great, the direction was great. The gameplay, I don't like first-person gameplay. I don't like not being able to see my feet when I'm, like, platforming, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so, that all said, I liked it. Here are my criticisms. If you don't scan and learn everything about the Chozo, you don't get the real ending. And I didn't know that until Zach said something about the ending, and I was like, I didn't see that. And so I went and watched the ending on YouTube, and it was totally different. And it's just because I didn't scan every single little thing. Like, come on, that's so boring. I'm not going to play it again to see, an extra 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like the Super Metroid ending where if you save those prisoners, you get like another ship flying out, something that really doesn't matter. This is like the intro to the story of Metroid Prime 2 and 3. You know what I mean? So you lose real story there. And you don't even know it. It's not like, Samus in a bathing suit or not. Anyway, so that really bugged me. Scanning everything was kind of the modern equivalent of, point and click every pixel on the screen from Sierra Online games. And, I realize Super Metroid has that same quote unquote problem, but to me, this isn't Super Metroid. Super Metroid played like a flawless game to me. It's on a different level. I felt that because this was a remake, they probably should have updated it a little bit more. The graphics were great and all that stuff, but I think the save points could have been made as fast travel and not ruin the game. Because a lot of it was like, oh crap, I forgot this one thing on the exact opposite side of all the maps. I guess I have to spend 25 minutes going as fast as possible over there and doing that a few times. So I felt like that kind of wasted my time. And yeah, like I said, I sound really critical on it, but I did like it. I did beat it. I mean, I guess you could say I beat it. The game doesn't say it, but I beat it. I don't know. Do you have any strong feelings on this one?
No, I've really haven't played it. I mentioned before I still have like a sealed copy of this game, and I know I can get the remake on GameCube or not GameCube. What is the thing called? The Switch. And I just haven't yet. It looks like a game I would probably enjoy. I mean, I know everyone says this is like one of the greatest Metroid games ever, and I'll buy that. Just haven't gotten around to it, and I didn't want to start another big game right now because I've got enough big games queued up this year already. How long is this game? Like, if you just play it casually, how long is it?
I want to say I beat it in like 10 hours, 12 hours, something like that.
Oh, okay. So maybe I could squeeze it in.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think you could. If you didn't have the other million things going on in your life.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's things. I mean, sort of like, I don't know if other people do this, but like when you've got like ordered a game and it's, a week away from coming out or whatever, you don't want to start a game that's going to take you longer than, 2 weeks to finish.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of, like, okay, I'll just, the game that I'm picking for Game Club, for example, is something I think I can finish in like a week.
Yeah. Zach has some comments on this. It's one of his favorite games ever. He doesn't generally go for first-person shooter games, but this one gets it right. And his order of best to worst Prime game is 1, 3, 2. And he said it's better than most of the 2D Metroid games. And what are you going to play next?
Next, so this is sort of a more open game for people to pick. I'm not picking a specific game, but I'm personally playing Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. It's something I started actually a day or two ago. But I figure we're not going to talk about all the Phoenix Wright games in detail ever on this show. I can't imagine it. So if you want to play along, play any game in this series. I'm just starting with the first one.
Cool. And I'm going to do Bloody Wolf on TurboGrafx 16.
All right. That's a fun one.
Yeah. And if I hope we have some listener feedback in the future about Phoenix Wright, Bloody Wolf, Missile Command, Metroid Prime, Atari, and a television.
Mm-hmm.
I hope we get a lot of feedback about CDI, like for the rest of our lives. And also, I hope one of you writes a front end in Rust. Please email us. Email at retrogameclub.net. That is email at retrogameclub.net. Or hit us up on our socials, which is in our, what's it called? A link tree.
Yeah.
And that's on our show notes. And that's all maintained by Zach. And thank you, Zach.
Yep. Thank you. Apparently, he also posted a Twitter question that he said got more replies than he could paste in the show notes. So that's good.
Yeah. Love the feedback.
Yeah. So let's see. Majors writes in about avoiding spoilers for the new Zelda. He says when Alien 3 was announced, he went on a media block for all ads and reviews. Oh, geez. So in other words, manage your expectations.
Yeah, and then you got Alien 3, which I do. I like that movie. I think it gets a worse rap than it deserves.
I did not like it. He also wants to know, you mentioned selling your Capcom multi-cap and wondered, is it the CPS2 Darksoft multi or something else?
I have a first run CPS2 multi that I did not sell with it. It was a Capcom 18-in-1. It was one of the first like Alibaba specials that got pretty popular for a little bit, and then they stopped making them because they kept breaking. And so like when Ken does special moves, he doesn't make any special sounds. Like that kind of Alibaba special. But a lot of people like that Capcom 18-in-1 multi. So yeah, it was sad to see that one go.
All right. PCFX gets a rap for bad explicit games, or bad rap for explicit games. But it's exaggerated. Most of them are not much worse than Plumbers Don't Wear Ties on 3DO. Which, if you ever played, it is PG-13 at worst.
Yeah.
And he says there is a new podcast called the PCFX Fan Club Podcast that just started.
I might check that out.
So if you're curious, I'm gonna search for this right now in a incognito browser. I should probably open Tor. Hold on. Yeah, it started, looks like April 18th, last episode April 18th, 2023. It looks like it started January 2023.
I wonder if we know any of the people that do this. I'm going to check this out for sure.
Yeah, why not?
You know, TurboGrafx is my favorite system, and I always wanted a PCFX until I saw the lineup, and also I didn't speak Japanese. You know, now there's translations and stuff, but it's one of those systems I always wanted to love, you know. So maybe this will teach me how.
Like me, Majors worked at a video game store when they were clearing out Neo Geo stuff. He did get Samurai Showdown 2 for $50.
Awesome.
After that, they kept sending leftover copies of Fatal Fury 1 from other stores to his store, thinking they must be like a hotbed of Neo Geo sales. It got discounted down to $10. And he sold them on news groups on Usenet at the time.
So I wonder if he actually had a AES console.
He did
to play
not.
That. No,
because he said he played it at a friend's house.
Okay, I missed that part.
Yeah, yep. There's also another quick-select game called Gal's Panic S, which has 2-player co-op and versus mode.
I don't know about that title.
Yeah, I don't know
I
about
don't
that
want to
either.
Google that one.
I'm not going to Google that one. Talks about the Shockwave, but we're going to talk about the Shockwave later. Missile Command, some feedback here. Big fan of the 2600 release, even with the limits of the hardware. Metroid Prime, bought a copy for $6 when GameStop was blowing out old games in 2003 to 2004. So there you go. Recommends using headphones for a more immersive experience when playing it.
Yeah, I would see that. It seems like that 2003 to like 2006 era was like the prime time to buy video games. Almost from any era, like with the Dreamcast and the GameCube not being cool anymore, and then everything before that not being cool yet. Like it seems like that was the time.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever looked at, I put in the show notes at the beginning of the year, but the 2004 Electronics Fatigue catalog I posted kind of towards the beginning of the year. It has like the deals on pre-played games, which at this point is like GameCube, Game Boy Advance, original PlayStation, Dreamcast. It is amazing deals. You know, you're looking right now at, like I'm looking at it here. This isn't pre-played. This is new. So like a new PS1 is $49.99, and like Final Fantasy games are $19.99. Right? These are games that now you pay awesome. A lot more for.
Yeah.
But there's just a ton of like crazy deals like that in there.
Had I known at the time, and had I had any money at the time, I was so broke. Those were like my brokest years.
Yeah, I had a baby at home back then.
I had a not good job.
Oh.
Going out to the bar too much.
French Pet Will writes in about the Shockwave. So we all got confused on the one game show we watched. Which one was it? Video and Arcade Top 10. They're giving away Shockwaves, and neither of us knew what they meant. He sent some pictures. Is referring to a Shockwave cassette player by Panasonic. It's a Walkman clone. It looks like the iconic yellow Walkman that like literally everybody you knew had.
Yeah, did we get this here?
Well, we must have, but you know, it's not jumping out at me because again, like everybody, literally everybody had the Sony Walkman.
Yeah. No one had a Panasonic.
Yeah. I cannot think of a person I knew at that time period without the Sony Walkman.
I wouldn't want to know him. What kind of monster was that?
Yeah, exactly. So, no, we did not have. We probably had it. You probably could technically purchase one of these in the U.S., but we did not have one.
And so thank you, Will and Majors, for both those emails. We have some social, some favorite dialogue from games. We have Get Over Here from Scorpion, Son of a Submariner from, what is that, Final Fantasy VI. The Last Metroid is in Captivity. The Galaxy is at Peace from Super Metroid. X-Men, Welcome to Die. I remember that, yeah. Magneto from X-Men. Let's see some other ones. Of course, All Your Base Are Belong to Us from Zero Wing. Thank You, Mario, but the Princess is Another Castle. One of my favorites, I Am Error. Did we ever get the story behind that? Is that really an error?
The name was supposed to be Errol, Errol. Like Errol Flynn.
Okay.
But, you know, R and L sometimes get flipped. Like B and V get flipped in Japanese English translations a lot too. So that's what happened. It was I Am Errol, like Errol Flynn. And oops.
Never pay more than $20 for a game from Secret of Monkey Island. I love that one. Let's see. My favorite from all these that I agreed with was A Winner Is You from Nintendo Pro Wrestling.
From Pro Wrestling, yeah.
Any of these stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean they're all like there are a lot of zany video game quotes material. That's a site that somehow has not changed in probably over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It used to be a site that posted screenshots of bad translations. Of course, translations generally get better over time. Eventually, it'll probably all be AI translations, I guess. And yeah, a lot of these are right off there.
Yeah. Do you do you have a favorite or no?
Oh no, I put one for people to read that I thought was a particularly interesting quote, but I'm not going to go into it.
Mine was from Bang Bead. It's such a horribly translated game. It's a Neo Geo Windjammers like that actually like better than Windjammers. And I always play the Indian female, and when she wins, she says,
Hold on, you're not going to get us canceled, right?
I might.
Okay.
Her whole point to winning is to feed people who are starving,
Okay.
but they cannot translate it to save their lives.
Oh, okay. So it's a very bad translation of something
Yeah,
that's maybe
so
a little
Yes.
cringy to begin with.
Yeah, so when she wins, she says, she's holding up a wad of cash, and she says, so I can serve curry to living in poverty. So there
Okay.
you go.
That could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like between this and Cult of the Lamb, we've gotten canceled a few times today.
Probably, yeah.
Right.
I mean, if I had like social media or anything I could be canceled from, I guess I'd be worried about it.
But I think that almost wraps it up. We got what do we got? We got some Bloody Wolf and what was yours again here? I'm scrolling.
Any Ace Attorney game.
Yes.
Any
yes.
Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney game.
How many of those are there?
Well, there was a trilogy on the Switch, so I'm assuming there's 3 like mainline titles, and probably some side things, right? I don't know the whole series. I just know that there's 3 sort of mainline games. I believe you can play them all on the DS if you have like the original game or one of those magical cartridges. I guess you could play them all on there.
Yeah.
The special DS cartridge.
Cool. Again, that's email@retrogameclub.net. And I think that about wraps it up, right?
Yeah, so thanks for listening.
Thank you.